Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico. And today we're here to start off another wonderful week's worth of content. Well, yes, Nico. There was not a Nico's quick chat. There was not a Nico's quick chat this Monday, and it was because I had a photo shoot that I'm trying to make into like a new opening. Nico, and I've had enough comments saying it's a new year, give us a new opening. I'll see what I can do, but I'm the only one on this editing team. So I do apologize for that. But that's not why you're here. But before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive videos, weekly live streams, and be a part of the live streams where we have multifaceted conversations on various topics depending on the week. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in. This last video's comment. Sorry to this man. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. Basically, it was the Black Boy Max video. Sorry, I was calling him Playboy Max in that video just because Black Boy does not, it doesn't resonate in my mind. Like I tell a lot of these OnlyFans content creators, where do y'all be thinking of these names? Like, these names are so off or so close to a proper name that it throws me off. But that's not what you're here for. Point is, they quoted Kiki Palmer and they got over 600 likes. So kudos to you, girl. Now, let's get on to the actual story. Today, we're going to be talking about Ace Carter, Nico, and someone named Connor. I'm not gonna say the at out loud because I'll get in trouble on YouTube, but Connor. Basically, this will need a slight flashback. So, as you know, a couple of months ago, I actually talked about Ace Carter and Spiky D and the backlash they received on a collaboration they did, where Ace Carter essentially rented out a Airbnb. He used a child's bedroom and children's toys to then paint and code Spiky D as a small child. And from there, they created content for their other website. Nico, if you know what I mean, super happy adult fun time, illegal. Illegal. So I did a story on that and the backlash they received, and a lot of people were surprisingly giving mixed responses, basically going, well, why aren't you attacking the Mormons.com? You know, the one where they dress young 20-somethings that look like teenagers as children and do things. I'm just sitting here like arguing that why aren't you combating other problematic situations while you are currently talking about a problematic situation is just deflection. You can talk about all of it. Clearly that did not cross my mind because I don't watch that content. So saying, why didn't you talk about this problematic thing you've probably never heard of? Girl, what you want me to say? So in this situation, it was a mixed response. Some people were on the lines of, it is role play, it should not be taken seriously, while others were saying that he crossed the line by renting someone's Airbnb and using their child's bedroom as a setting for their film. And I do personally believe that was crossing the line completely. Once again, the entire situation is yuck to me because why are you fantasizing about that? But also, that was a clear crossing the line because an actual child will have to sleep in that bed afterwards. But moving on to this controversy. Basically, before that rolled out, he had done a collaboration with Connor, and they posted the trailer and released the film, I believe. But after that happened, Connor eventually made a TikTok explaining why he took the video down, why he took the trailers down, seeing as how that is gross what Ace Carter and Spiky D did, what they were perpetuating in that collaboration, and he wanted nothing attached to him in response.
Does anyone else remember why he had to go private on Twitter? Because I could never forget, no matter how much I tried to collab with him 2 months before he did all that, and it's the biggest regret of my life. I'm gonna preface this by saying, take the trailers with me down now. You did what you did because your views were down so far after our trailer because nothing that you had released afterwards was close to the quality that I can provide. And those trailers didn't do well because of you. They did well because of me. I watched back that whole video and so did everyone else who paid for it, and they can tell you right now, I stole that whole video. And then you did that after. So I'll say it again. Take our trailers down. I did when you did that whole thing. You should do the same, out of respect.
Ace Carter was upset that Connor had the nerve to speak out against what he did, so he decided to repost their videos from their collaboration. It was then that Connor reached out and said, hey, I don't want those videos up. I want nothing to do with you. Can you retract that? Please take it down. And Ace Carter basically said, I'll take it down when you take down the TikTok addressing what I did. So at this point, it is revenge content. Nico, what do you mean? I can't say the word on YouTube because of censorship. It is revenge content that he posted strictly to upset Connor because he did not agree with what he was doing in that child's bedroom. So from there, he continuously posted it, and people begin to rightfully push back and give him backlash because you're actively posting revenge content for someone standing up against you, and you're saying the only way you'll take it down is if you take down your statements about what I publicly did. So Connor then said, I'm just going to nip it in the bud. I don't want this out. I don't want the trailers out, but if it circumvents you getting money, I'm just going to drop the video for free. So he dropped the entire 16-minute collaboration on Twitter. Nico, I personally didn't watch it because I'm not into white men. I tell you guys that often, but I did support him in that action, seeing as how if I'm telling you I don't want something out and you continuously put it out trying to prove a point because you were in the wrong, I'm going to make sure that you can't benefit off of it whatsoever.
After I brought up the things that Ace Carter did, he just released revenge corn with me in it. Ace Carter has now gone private after releasing revenge corn of me, saying that the only way that he'll take the post down is if I take the TikToks down. I'm never going to be silenced. Obviously, like, anyone would be mad that, like, revenge corn of them gets posted, but why did it have to be with the ugliest person I've slept with?
So once again, Ace Carter is private. Nico, because after the whole child situation happened, he went private, he went unprivate, then he went private again after this one. And my question is, how many people will continue to support him just because they find him attractive? Because people were quoting this, relating it to the Austin Wolf situation. Nico, what happened when Austin Wolf? If you did not know, he's currently locked up because he was charged federally for distributing and creating super happy adult fun time that is illegal because someone is under 18. Nico, yeah, I had to word this very carefully because that one got demonetized just based off of that. So basically, Austin Wolf has been banished into the shadows of the internet. A lot of people actually came out and spoke against him and took down their collaborations with him, seeing as how it was public knowledge within a social bubble. And I say that because people begin to come out afterwards saying that they had encounters with him where I just turned 18 like 3 days before we filmed. I told you I was nervous and uncomfortable with it, and you said, don't worry, it'll be fine. So it's giving me stress and panic attacks every time I see it pop up on the internet. Can you please take this down? And Austin Wolf replied, you were a legal adult. You knew what you were doing. And he blocked the person. Then it came out that somebody that casually encountered with Austin Wolf began to talk about his strange conversations with him, where he would say things like he's in love with an 11-year-old, or he hopes he has children and sons in particular so he can, so it was a open secret in a social bubble. That's why when a lot of performers came out and said, I don't agree with this, I'm taking down our collaborations, this is gross, I don't stand behind Austin Wolf, I was lenient on that, because certain situations, you don't know what's going on in people's heads. You don't know what's going on in the confines of their home. So as soon as you find out something comes out and you're disgusted with what they do, I fully agree with retracting consent and association with that person. Because at that point, you showing your true colors, I know what I'm getting into, I'd rather not engage. So I understand this comparison to the Austin Wolf situation where Connor saw what Ace did. He publicly said, I'm taking down all these trailers. I don't want nothing to do with him, and I don't agree with him as an individual. And then Ace decided to post revenge content, and Connor said, you know what? I'm just going to circumvent it. You're not making money off of me. I'm throwing it out there for free. So once again, kudos to you, Connor. And I hope a lot more performers come out against things like this, where someone is clearly in the wrong, especially if they are in a position of privilege where they're benefiting off of the community, benefiting off of people not knowing what they're doing. So once again, kudos to Connor and kudos to the performers that retracted their consent and support for Austin Wolf once his true colors were shown. But now that we have all the information, I want to hear your opinions down below. How do you feel about content creators retracting consent, retracting approval for collaborations they did with somebody after it came out that the person was messed up in the head and did awful things to other people, seeing as how some people believe you consented at the beginning of the video? Because I've covered stories where content creators will create content with supposedly new content creators that want to film, and then afterwards they'll be like, oh, but don't post it. Oh, but I didn't really mean it. In those situations, it's more complicated, but I would like to hear your opinion down below on that. Do you believe it's similar to people who feign consent and feign approval of being on film to get access to content creators and then retracting it simply because they got what they wanted, compared to somebody who gave consent, who were mutually agreeing to make money off of the product, and once something came out about their character, they retracted consent? Because personally, I believe those are two different things. I believe one is manipulation and the other is I now have information that makes me uncomfortable at working with you. But before I continue to drag on, I definitely want to hear your opinions down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Boop. And now for a brief yet sincere shout out to this week's Third Eye Tier subscribers, Xander and Tyrell JM. Your continued support is greatly appreciated, and thank you once again to everyone who supports the channel. We're officially at 41K girlies. And this week's live stream will be over thirsting after straight men in the mainstream, seeing as how a lot of our awakenings were due to straight actors and or performers depending on the field of film you were watching. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in. Today, we're here to start off another front with and with him. I did it to the Austin Wilde situation. Nico, what happened with Austin Wilde? Wolf.